It's a miracle. Now, since leaving his hometown in Queensland a little over a decade ago, Caboolture, our first guest has gone on to become one of the biggest country names in the world. For those not familiar with his work, here is just a little taste.
Is the one and only Mr. Keith Urban.
Blacktop in. Who wouldn't want to be me?
Folks, Mr. Keith Urban joining us.
Good. I'm so relieved you've come on. Ever since you played at the Goodwill Games when Glenn and Kate and I saw you, we've been bothering the office. Is Keith Urban in town this week? Because we've always wanted you. But there's one thing I need to ask you. Do you remember gigs? Like, do you remember the Goodwill Games gig in Brisbane?
Yeah, it was terrific.
Yeah, because it was terrific for the people, and I just figure you travel the world and do stuff, so you do remember big events like that.
Yeah, especially back here. You know, that's really significant. It was such a good turnout, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and is it kind of funny to come back to Queensland when you're big in sort of Nashville and the rest of the US?
I love it. You know, it always reminds me where I come from. So I look forward to it.
Grounds you.
That's right. It grounds me. So.
When you first left Australia and arrived in Nashville, it took a long time to sort of get a break.
It did, a good few years. Yeah, it's a really tough town, you know, especially if you want to do it your own way.
Yes.
You know, it takes a lot longer.
And was being Australian a help or a hindrance?
It wasn't a help. You know, everyone thought I was nuts when I got there. I can see why now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I didn't think it would take so long. So.
Now, I have a burning question. I mean, you obviously know how to write a hit song. You've been extremely successful. My question is, what is it that makes a song a hit? And also, when it comes to the songwriting process...
Some say love.
But when it comes to songwriting, are you the kind of writer that you do your lyrics first, then music first, then lyrics, or does it all just flood out? How does it happen for you?
Any combination of the above. Yeah, I'm actually written with Rob Thomas, who was on recently too, and it's just, you never know. I mean, it comes out in melody, it comes out in lyrics, sometimes it comes out, and it's usually in the most inopportune places too, like the shower or something like that. Yeah.
Do you think you always know, though? I mean, obviously you must do, I mean, so much writing, but every now and then is it...
Yeah, that's a good one.
You've written something and it just stands out from the rest, or what?
Yeah, and I think you try not to think about it when you're writing it, because you can really mess it up, you know.
And now we were looking at our Idol, the Big Talent Quest. Is it right? You were on Pot of Gold when you were...
Yeah,
oh, no,
yeah.
The original Australian.
That's right. Yeah.
We've got it here.
It's actually been...
Do you remember that gig?
You know what I do? Because Bernard King was the judge. And I remember I sang a Dolly Parton song, which, as you can imagine, with Bernard, wasn't one of his favourites. And he said... what did he say? Something about stop trying to sound like Dolly Parton. Something. He said something about you know, just you got to learn to. He said escape the mediocre, get out of country and western, get into real music. Otherwise, you'll end up sounding like Dolly Parton and being absolutely useless. 8. I think this was something like
8
that.
out of 25.
So, yeah,
out of 25.
Did it set you back for a while, or did it spur you on?
Actually, I really liked country then, and I still do. And but he's right. I definitely did, needed to stop singing like Dolly. But that was before my voice matured too. So,
can I ask? Have you got a guitar-shaped pool? That's when you know you've got it. Imagine the only pool shop in Nashville has 8 different versions of a guitar. That's when you know you've made it in country and western.
Or a pool-shaped jacuzzi bigger, wouldn't it?
There you go. Yeah. Bingo.
You haven't gone down that
I don't have that yet.
But you are part of... I mean, everything I read about you says that you're pretty keen on the guitar. You're a pretty good guitarist.
I've always loved playing. And
is there a bit of a cult amongst good guitarists where you judge each other and who's the best and who do you like and all that kind of thing?
I don't know. It's such a, everyone's got their own thing. There's always something. Like Tommy Emmanuel, I think, is still one of the greatest ever. But he does things that Eddie Van Halen can't do, and vice versa.
Oh, so they can't mix their styles.
I don't think so. It'd be good if they tried, though.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Keith, the album Golden Road has some great songs penned by you. Also, one of the daggiest songs ever written in the 70s.
Jeans On.
Jeans On by the great Dave Dundas. What inspired that?
That's right. That song just always stuck with me.
It's
And actually, my memory of it was much cooler than when I actually went and heard it again.
and the opening lyrics being,
When I wake up in the morning light,
I pull on my jeans and I feel
all
all
right.
right.
That's riveting stuff.
Are the jeans like a metaphor for something, you feel, or?
Yeah, you know, like I say, when I recorded it for the record, my memory of it was whatever it was, and so I went in and recorded it. And then recently I just heard it again. It sucks. The original.
What happened to Mr. Dundas, I wonder?
I don't know.
He may be.
And tell me,
still
is the speaking of political controversy, is the Dixie Chicks a big subject amongst country music? And
Yeah. Well, because it's such a delicate time in the States to be, you know, speaking your mind, and unfortunately that's what Natalie did, and you know,
She confused it for democracy, or the idea that you could actually have an opinion.
you played with the Dixie Chicks, though, didn't you?
I did. I played on one of their records, and yeah. So, but you know, it's freedom of speech goes both ways. That's the whole thing. You know?
Sure.
Is it harder in Nashville? Like, if you were to speak your mind in Nashville than it is in New York or LA or something?
In country in general, yeah. In the South, it's a little more conservative. And I think maybe some of her views were taken out of context a little bit too. you
Whipped
know.
up a little bit.
So, yeah.
Well, you're going to do us a song tonight from the
Gonna do a
aforementioned
Dixie
album,
Chicks song
Goldenrod.
next
I thought Blue Jeans would be a nice touch. If you want to wander over to our spacious performance area, Keith will in fact be touring Australia in October, starting in Brisbane and sort of going around in a clockwise direction. Check with Leanne Rhymes too, I believe. So that'll be a sensational double act if you get a chance to see them. But in the meantime, here is a little taste. We have to leave the area. We can't contribute to the song unless you'd like to
Oh, come on.
join in on the rose.